All right. So let's get started. Can everybody hear me? Awesome. Great. Awesome. So today I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to many of you about marketing to the 55 plus population. To me, that is an up-and-coming market. I will spend about, let's say, 30 minutes just kind of going over why it's important for you to spend a little bit of time really considering whether this is a group, a population that interests you. It is definitely an underserved market, and I definitely think that it is something that you will really benefit from, not only financially, but morally. This is a group of people who have not had the luxury of having a lot of testing on them. Athletes get tested all the time, kids get tested all the time, the sick get tested all the time, but people who have just generally grown up. These people are being underserved, drastically underserved by our market. And I think that if you sit back after this presentation and think a little bit, you might find a spot in your schedule to work with this group. But first, I want to say thank you for being here. It's an honor to talk to you today, and I really appreciate the number of you coming out to listen to me talk about this. So as you look at the presentation, the first question I have is, what do you think of when you think of older people? Do you think of people like this, people in a wheelchair, people with walkers, people with canes? Do you think of sick, elderly? Or do you think of people like this, people who are active, people who are still competing at a master's level, people who have figures that people half their age would die to have, people who are body surfing, they are running marathons. These are people who started working out many years ago and are continuing to work out today. So the mature market, what do you need to know? Baby boomers, this is your group. They're currently 50 to 68 years old. They were born in 1956, and roughly around 1964, they began to diminish and start to be called a different generation. 79 million people, 79 million adults make up this market. And for the next 18 years, we are going to add to this population by 10,000 adults per day. Now think about the numbers of that. Every day you're trying to scrounge a new person to come in. You're going to try and market to people who want your services and people who are going to really desire to work out and exercise. But I'm going to show you over the next few minutes that with 79 million people and adding 10,000 a day, this is a market to be reckoned with. So, what's defining 55 and older? Well, to make it quick, anybody born 1929 or older, they're your seniors. They are currently over 77 years of age. There's a group called the Young Olds. They were born between 1930 and 1945. They're that 69 to 84. This is a good population for you. These are people who want to be active. There's the baby boomers, who I just mentioned, and then there's the baby busters. They were 1965, 1979. Many of you are actually part of that group. So, then there are the differing levels. There's the elite level. These are the people who are already competing in masters things. They're already in your gyms. They're already people who are working out on a regular basis. Then there's the physically fit people. These are people who work out, 2-3 times a week. They're the ones who go to the gym and they make it a priority. Maybe they walk a little bit more. Maybe they're on bikes. Maybe they are, a little bit more independent. But they're working out. Then there's the independents. These are people who use tennis and golf and gardening. They use these for their definitions of exercise. There's the frail. These are people who can do their daily activities, but they're not necessarily people who do any exercise at all. And then there's the dependents. These are the people who need walkers and canes, and they need help on a regular basis. Who are you going after? Anybody? Right. The elite's already in your gym. The physical fit's normally in your gym. The independent people, the ones who play tennis and golf but don't really work out. These are the people who you're going after. The frail people, they are people who need specialists. That's not us. And dependents are people who need to be in a separate field. They're probably, you know, in hospice and things like that. So why are you listening to me today? Well, I am 25 years in the industry. I have my bachelor's from University of Maryland in College Park. This is our clients. We have an average age clientele of 48.7. I have trained PGA Tour athletes. I have built national championships on the golf level. I have trained everyday moms and dads my whole career. And while I was in Washington, D.C., and I had my gym, I had the ability to train George W. Bush, our U.S. president, number 43, arguably one of the most fit presidents we ever had. And it was an honor for me to work with him for the couple of years I had an opportunity. So I kind of know who we're talking about here, right? I mean, these are people I've worked with before. So when you think about this, you are going to really have to expand your market. Many of you are going after that 25, 35, 45 age group, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's some special, unique characteristics. And if you look at this slide, you'll see these are not pictures I just pulled off of the web. You're seeing very active adults, people who are in our gym. These are people who are in that age range that I was talking about, the baby boomer market, the baby buster market. They're working out every day with us, and these are actual clients of ours. So one of the things I like to do is I say, you know, how do baby boomers remember their exercises? Well, you got pictures like Cheryl Tiegs and Jane Fonda and Richard Simmons and Olivia Newton, you know, Jack LaLanne. These are all people who are their mentors. They're the people who started the fitness trends, not only for us, but for this generation. And some of the people who are a little bit older, if you look at these pictures, I mean, how cool is that? You know, you see the old dumbbells, you see the old machines that, you know, used to go around your belts and you know, the shaker belts. I don't even remember what the name of those are called, but, you know, this generation saw those, and if they were active, they were trying it. But most trainers, they don't think of this market being active like this. I mean, take a look at some of these people in these pictures. You know, they're looking at markets, and they're trying to figure out how do they get to these people. Again, this is some of our clients. We just had some of our people just climb Kilimanjaro. We've had a number of people run a number of the new obstacle course craze. They are just totally psyched about this. But most of the people, if you look at if you can't read the writing on the joke, it says, fitness experts say your muscles need plenty of rest between workouts, and the doctor's saying, yes, but your last workout was 17 years ago. So as you can see, you know, a lot of this group doesn't really know what to do. So let's go back to why you're here. Why are you focusing on this group? Well, it's the perfect storm, okay? The sample of what they currently have to work with on a regular basis are these silver sneaker programs, these fit after 50 programs, these vintage fitness programs that you sit in a chair, you sit on a ball, you don't lift anything more than 3 or 5 pound weights. They're not dealing with this population the way this population wants to be dealt with. There's nothing sexy, there's nothing fun, there's nothing interesting currently out there in most markets. The real problem when people think about this demographic is that the demographic is not being marketed to correctly. Look at the pictures. You see the CrossFits, the jumping on tires, the lifting heavy dumbbells, the deadlifting, and the you know, single leg with scantily clad bikini models. This market arguably may not have ever looked like this, and they certainly don't look like it now. So we are completely alienating this entire group. Now, you can't really see this slide, but the reality is that when you look at this, almost every bit of marketing is going towards the millennials, and most gyms, as you can see from this demographic, are not taking advantage of this age group. Remember, 79 million current baby boomers with 10,000 added per day. These people want to work out. These people are ready to work out. But why do you want to know about this? Well, starting in 2016, every 8 seconds, someone's going to turn 70. By 2030, there will be 87 million people ages 65 and up. And the smallest amount of research has been done on this age group to date. Now, hopefully, as I'm using this date of 2030, that people like myself, people like some of the universities that are doing a lot of work with this, the Functional Aging Institute. These are people who are actively interested in this group. And I believe we'll start to see more and more studies because I believe this is truly, truly, truly a market that's ready to move on and just burst at the seams for your gyms. But what are the interests of these baby boomers? They want to know about quality of life. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to get sick. They don't want to fall. They're worried about not falling behind. They don't want to just keep, we all know the statistics about you gain 10 pounds every 10 years and, you get slower as you age and you lose muscle. But they want to travel. They want to be around for their grandchildren. They're interested in longevity. So where do they get most of their information from? Well, if you look, you and I could all agree that doctors are not always our best advocates in the fitness realm. The doctors, 51% of the doctors out there have never had any physical activity related coursework during their whatever many years of med school there is. 21% of the med schools out there only offer one course, and that's a semester of just a little bit of knowledge. 82% of the medical schools don't require medical students today to take any physical fitness, physical activity related courses at all. So they're not teaching the doctors, but this is where they're getting their information. This is where this group goes to when they want information on what they should do. So, some of you might know this, some of you might not. We lose 30% of our muscle between the ages of 30 and 70. That's a lot, right? 99% of the population 55 and over feel they need to focus on health and longevity, but according to recent statistics, only 16% take any action at all. So 99% know it, they heard it from their doctors, they just know it because they're intelligent, but only 16% do anything about it. 1 in 3 adults ages 65 and older fall every year. There are 2.5 million ER visits a year at a cost of $34 billion, according to the New England Journal of Medicine in 2013. $34 billion of healthcare costs are going on 65 years or older. Now I put this slide up because I thought it was interesting. On the left-hand side, you'll see a healthy brain. On the right-hand side, you'll see an unhealthy brain. Now you can obviously tell the difference. One has got some serious deterioration. We've got the idea of Alzheimer's, of forgetfulness, of just senior moments. But people think that fitness is all about working out the body, but there's also part of exercise that will bring the brain into the mix. So what's in it for our aging population? What do they want from a trainer? So what are they looking for us? I can tell you this from my clients, they don't want to be treated like they're old. We talk about everything. We joke, they laugh. You'd be amazed how much inappropriate content comes up with this population. They're just like us, but everybody treats them like they're old. When it comes time to what are we going to help them with, you cannot sell to them. You have to talk to them. Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about building relationships. Everything for the future is going to be about building relationships. This is a huge, huge thing for them. They want you to hear their stories about their grandchildren. You're not going to be able to sit them down and sign them up for a 12-month contract in 5 minutes. You're going to have to spend some time with them. You're going to have to hear about their aches and pains. You're going to have to hear about their grandchildren. You're going to have to hear about their latest trip, and that's okay, because that's important to these people. They want you to know that your job is to help them feel young and live longer. That's what they want. They want to be independent. They don't want to be put in a home. They don't want their children to be worried about them. They don't want to feel like, am I going to have to move out of my house and go live in a 10 by 10 room with a bed and a hot plate? They want your place to be clean and safe and updated. So they don't want to see chalk everywhere. They don't want to be worried about tripping over kettlebells. They don't want to have to make their way to a treadmill or a bike. It has to be open. It has to have good lighting. And if you don't run a facility like that, you're probably turning off these people. But above all of that, you got to be smart, you got to be professional, and you got to be courteous. You got to go back to that relationship building. You got to be the person that they trust. Now they listen to their medical doctors, you want them to listen to you. And they want to laugh. They want to have some fun. They want to feel included. They don't want to feel like you're sticking them in the corner on a chair with, two-pound dumbbells and say, do some arm raises. That's not fun for them, and they're not coming back. They're not coming back. What's in it for you? So trainers, why are you here? Why are you interested in this at all? Why do you need to start training this population? They're the #1 demographic when it comes to spending power. They have the money to afford you. You go after a 25, 35-year-old, what are they doing? They're trying to, build their families. They're trying to buy another house. They're trying to buy their first house. They're trying to buy a better car. This demographic, the baby boomers and the baby busters and, all these 55 plus, they have $4 trillion in spending power, according to 2015, so arguably that number's gone up. They own 63% of all the financial assets in the US. In the next 10 years, they're going to increase their spending on health-related products and activities and professions by 500,000%. And compared to 1 century ago, so in 1916, 1920, around there, they lived 3 decades longer. Okay? What's a benefit in it for you as well? These people want to go out and play tennis in the morning. They want to get up. They want to have their coffee. They want to go play golf. They can come into the gym at noon. They can come into the gym at 2 o'clock. They don't have a job. They're retired. They don't have kids that they have to get to school and then, be available after 3 to bring to practice and things like that. They train in the middle of the day because that's when it's fun for them. But above all, you got to want to train this population. You got to be passionate about this. If you are a no-holds-barred, yell and scream, boot camp, Zumba instructor who wants to kind of dig in and kind of get in their face mentality, this is not the market for you. If you want to get to know and love people who have lived life, who have experienced more than we'll ever know, this is the market for you. Here's an interesting fact. After 45 years of age, most clubs see a huge decline in retention, and a lot of their older population leave because they just feel disenfranchised. They feel like we're not talking to them. They feel like we don't include them, that we're not interested in them anymore because they come a little less, or they need to have a little bit more TLC. And that's something that we need to fix. They know they need help. You know they need help. They're asking for help, and you need to have the skills to help them. So back to what's in it for you, more members equals more profit. And this is a group that you can get those members. You can find those people. So where do you start? Well, IHRSA just did a study, and they said that currently, this is what the market looks like. So you see things up there like fad fitnesses. Everything's about bigger, 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 churning out members, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. But they believe that 50 plus is over 50% of the population, so we should really be marketing to them. They believe that we need to stop being just trainers who get a degree and we just try and burn out hours to, hey, let's get that extra certification. Let's start to learn more of the science. Let's treat fitness as medicine and get these people to stop taking more pills and be more active. And therefore, you're going to have long-term members. If you're going to market to this group, then you need to do less boot camp terminology. Not saying you have to stop it, but when you talk to them, when you're sitting and selling them on your club, when you're having a conversation, you're not using no pain, no gain. You're not using loud, noisy, pit bull music. You got to be James Taylor. You got to be Beatles. You got to tell them more about how they're going to improve. You got to tell them that it's more outcome-based. We're not trying to get them into a size 2. We're trying to, make sure that they have brain health, that their injury protection is being advanced, that they're having no more problems with balance. I mean, that's a huge issue for this population. And that we're going to make things a little bit more intense. We're not going to try and beat them into submission. So again, I mentioned fitness as the new medicine. Consumers prefer sources that are supported by doctors. They're listening to their doctors. Well, what does a doctor do that's not necessarily equating with what we do? They trust their doctor. Their doctor could tell them to go jump off a bridge, and when they hit the ground, as long as they live, they'll be fine. And they're going to believe them. So they have to trust you like they trust their doctor. They have to have confidence that you are educated. So you have to walk the walk. They realize that these doctors have to get continuing ed just like we do, but they believe that these people went to school for 10 years and they've had 2 years of residency and then they had to specialize and blah, blah, blah. They have to have confidence that you know what you're talking about. And they have to believe that you know that there is science behind everything you're talking about. So we don't have a ton of science yet, but it's going to start coming and you got to stay up to date on it. So if you take a look at the picture, we got a lot of skin-tight booty shorts. We've got a lot of scantily clad women. We've got the no pain, no gain, and that's not something they're looking for. And I can promise you that as many guys out there, if you see you're looking at it, ripped abs, ripped this, these guys want to hit the ball further on the golf course. Okay? These gals want to be able to play tennis for 2 hours. They're not so worried about ripped abs anymore. They're not so worried about what they look like there. You want to... So I don't know what you guys teach yet. I don't know if you're one-on-one trainers. I don't know if you're small group trainers. I don't know if you're big group trainers, but I will tell you this. There's a need to teach one-on-one with this population, especially in the beginning. There might be some mobility, stability exercises that you need to really hone in on them. They have to get more proficient. Some of them, might be completely new to bikes and treadmills and weights. But the more you can put them into a group environment, whether it be small group of 3 to 5 or maybe even 8 to 12, they like to be around people. There are some people who come to our gym, it's the only time they get out all day. They're home all day, they come to us, we giggle, we laugh, they sit around, they get a coffee afterwards, and then they're done. They go right back home. So you got to promote inclusion. You want them to be around. Small group personal training. Again, these are all pictures of clients that are right here in our gym. This is not clip art. These are people, very real people who are working out regularly and doing everything, oftentimes with younger members. In your promotion of inclusion, you're focusing on overcoming bad decisions and developing new exercise habits. So I will tell you from experience, these guys are not going to stop drinking wine. They're most likely not going to stop having dessert. They are going to live their lives. They've earned it and they want to do it. So I want to wrap this up because I said it was going to be short. This is not a trend. This is not something that's going to just kind of ramp up like some of the fitness trends that we've had over the past 20 years. This is the future. It is a huge future. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve and you want to maintain your edge on your competition, you need to do this. You need to develop the experience. You need to have unique qualities on how to speak to this population, how to grow with this population, and how to relate to this population so that you are the best part of their day and they feel like you are making them their highest priority. I think that those of you who are sitting there and wondering, is this really a population for me? You do have to ask yourself that question. You do have to figure out, is this a group of people that I gel with? Some people don't, this is not for them. Some of you younger trainers, newer in the industry, there's going to be a learning curve on this. You got to start to pay attention to things like medications and hip replacements and shoulder ball joint surgeries, knee replacements, all that kind of stuff. You got to learn how to work with that. you're probably going to have to develop some relationships with physical therapists. We have a great relationship with our physical therapists across the street, and they know that when people finish their physical therapy, especially in this population, they're not ready to just go back out and start doing everything 100%. They send them to us and we work with them. So I would say that if you've ever wondered, can I do this for the rest of my life? Can I be a personal trainer? Can I make a difference for the rest of my life? I would say absolutely yes. But if you think you're going to do it without working with this population, you should really think again. And if you've sometimes gotten disenchanted with how hard it is to work and struggle to get client after client after client, 79 million people already out there in this demographic and 10,000 more per day. I'm not saying it's like shooting fish in a barrel, but I am saying they're out there and they want your help and they're asking for it, and I believe it's our responsibility to help them. So thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'll be in the back. Thanks.